What's up, everybody? Hoff, Cisco, we back at it. Logic in charge, we're coming at you. Now, there's been a lot going on since the last time I've been in front of everybody. Summer's here, I'm concentrating on being outdoors. I'm concentrating on making PEDs for people. And that's what brings me peace. I needed to take a little time off from the YouTube thing and just center myself before SHFT happens. Um, but in any case, we're back. We're gonna be back. I still got quite a few videos in the log that I need to put up. Positive note on that is I got my computer hooked up now, and I got all the editing programs I'm gonna need on there. So today I'm gonna start off with something. I have been watching some Navajo teachings just to get, an understanding, maybe see something that I need to see, hear something I need to hear. In any case, I'm taking it as knowledge. But he was talking about the giants of North America. Now, you can say what you want about it. The Bible called them the Nephilim. I believe that they were here. I know that the Smithsonian's been covering it up since the 1800s. Okay? But that's not the point of what I'm getting at. The point of me bringing this up is that in this video of the Navajo man with the chief, he was saying how the giants would hunt the children. Okay. Some could say it's no different than our politicians today, but that's another story for another day. But he said that the giants would hunt the children, right? So some children would obviously survive, and they would go to their fathers and ask them for the weapons, the tools that they needed to defeat these giants. You know what them tools were? The tools were prayer. The prayer to a higher power, the creator deity, whichever one that you choose to have represented. For me, I'm a Catholic, so I pray to God. But in any case, the Navajo man not only gave him the weapons, he also gave him the tool of prayer, right? And with them two things, Navajo believe that you can defeat almost anything. And it really hit me hard because I see that is one of the things that's missing out in our modern society. And I debated this today with my friend Mello and my girl. We were sitting there, debating product of your environment versus upbringing versus things just what makes you you, basically. And without morals, no, like without good morals, because there are bad morals too, but without good morals, it's going to be way harder to find your way up from down. And that's what I took from this. And that's what I want to pass on to my audience, right? Now isn't the time to throw morals to the side. Now is the time to be in tune with your morals and show people that goodness still does exist. That's what I wanted to get at with the opening conversation here. Now we're gonna cover other things here in a minute, but I'm gonna let Cisco speak on that.
Well, I think what you were basically getting at was nature versus nurture. And I'm a firm believer in it takes a bit of both. And you
Well,
even touched
yep.
and you even touched a little bit on whether or not I think you kind of lost your wording there for a minute, but I think you were getting ready to go on to another heated topic, especially in today's society, about genetics.
Not really. I wasn't wasn't really getting into it for that, but we'll definitely sure have something to say about that.
Because I believe that it does play a very small role in what's going on. And the reason why I say it plays a very small role, even though in the grand scheme of things it plays a pretty large role, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it plays a small role because the people who are focused on that predominantly are a very small faction of people, a very small and very annoying, eternally annoying faction of people, and we'll get into that too at a later date. That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole episode in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, but yeah, so I believe in it's a bit of all of it, you know. However,
And that was what point I was making in the conversation. It's not just, your upbringing, it's your environment, your upbringing, the fact and the fact if you have a dad in the house or not, or a father figure, all this comes together. And since our generation was actually the generation that they assaulted with all these at once, and we're seeing the outcome of this right now.
well, see, here's my thing. You know, it comes down to one simple fact. This is an assault on what we all know and believe and hold to be what makes humanity great. See, these people, they don't see humanity as being great. Um, they don't see
They see us as
humanity
subservient.
as being a benefit to the planet. Now, we can debate that all day. However, I will say this.
Look, all you gotta say, with that being said, right? What did one of the Rothschilds say right before they died? They wanted to come back as a virus and wipe out fucking human existence. Enough said.
That wasn't the Rothschilds. That was
No, it was.
that was the Prince of England.
No, it was a Rothschild. Rothschild. I can pull it up.
We can look that up, but I'm gonna tell you that was the prince. That was right before he died, the king.
I believe it was a Rothschild, but that's a debate. We'll find it, and I'll link the video in the description.
And the new prince is the one that called on the assault on humanity that we're going through right now, the pandemic. See, this is the thing.
Well, see, it wasn't just him; it's the people above him.
No, it's the people he's associated with because they're all together. They're all in the same whacked out pod.
You're right.
They
but the people
really
with
are.
the money are above the people that run the show.
And
Because
he's one of the
they influence the people that run the show.
And he's one of the people with the money. He's one of the royal families. The royal family's money is not recorded. That's another little misnomer.
What's recorded is what they want you to know.
Right, that people need to understand. The royal family has more money than you could shake a stick at with just property alone.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So, but I didn't get into that to get into the minutia of it. What I'm trying to say here is this. They're calling for an extinction level event. And they've been pushing for it. And they've been pushing and trying to corral humanity into what they like to call mega cities. This is all part of a UN Agenda 2030 that you need to look into if you want to understand ultimately where they want to push everyone.
Our followers would know all this, but those of the, ain't paying attention, they ain't gonna know this.
Now, they have kicked it up a notch because we failed their last test. Their last test was the pandemic. And most people went along with it. Now, granted, you had a few of us that bucked it from the very beginning, me being one of them. But you had the vast majority of the population that went along with it. They took the shot, at least the first one. They put the mask on. They followed the 6-foot rule. They did all the things that they needed to do to be seen as non-combative or as non-argumentative. Now, here's the problem with that. They took that as weak. And so now they're not just coming for your guns, they're openly coming for your children. And they're ramping all of this up we can get into the mass shootings and whether or not they were orchestrated or allowed to happen, because fact of the matter is they did happen. No one can deny that.
No.
Now, why they happened and how they happened, that can be debated because there's a lot of facts that are unknown to the general public.
Can't be too much debated with this Uvalad guy because everything's on camera. Everything.
Right. Well, and
including the 15 minutes in the parking lot when the teacher ran out to grab her phone and frantically left the door open trying to run back inside.
Well, that was proven a myth because the camera inside saw her slamming the door shut. So,
see, their narrative once again.
They've changed their narrative at least 16 times since the original day of the shooting.
But I haven't seen anyone really mention this part of it, right? Me and you've been talking about it. The CIA agent that was in contact with the Uvalad shooter.
I've seen a couple alternative media personalities talk about it. They haven't really gone into depth, and there really can't be too much depth that's gone into it. It is
only because they're tight-lipped and
right.
You know.
It's a suspicious flight. Mm-hmm. The timing is astronomically suspicious. It's just
the fact of the matter that the CIA had contact with this kid and didn't stop him is mind-blowing. Period.
Well,
we let these people in these positions to do the right thing, not to let the shit happen.
Well, and again, you know, it goes to further the narrative that they want pushed. Now, here's the unintended consequences.
Lives lost.
The unintended consequences is all of those families that are now damaged for the rest of their existence. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, you now have
the whole community's shocked.
There was already a vastly growing rift between the general populace and the police because of the defund movement and BLM and all of that. Well, now with this and the fact that they've been caught lying multiple times since the day that it happened, they've changed their stories multiple times since the day it happened. Well, that's just going to make the public distrust them even more. And now on the back of that...
Now you're getting to the reasons.
And now on the back of that, you've got the gun control that they're pushing for. Now,
heed this warning, America. Period. This is it. We give up our guns, we're done.
Well, I mean, again, the name of our channel is Logic in Charge. Now, logically, think about this. The police failed to save children when they were right outside. Do you honestly think the police will save you, especially since they've openly admitted in court it's not their job to save you? Their job is to stop a crime in process. Whether they save you or not is an afterthought.
But see, all of this is meant to divide us.
It is. And I'm not going to say that there aren't genuinely good cops out there. There are. But most of the genuinely good cops that are out there have been pushed out. And that was by design. They
don't want no parts of it because they don't want...
a lot of them were Christian, and as Christians, a lot of them refused to take the jab, and thus a lot of them had to walk away. So, and they did the same thing with the military. They've done the same thing with the hospitals. This has been a multifaceted takeover of society, and anybody who
medical tyranny
doesn't believe it, just think about what life was like 4 years ago and what your life is like now. Rules that you never even would have thought you would have ever heard of 4 years ago, and rules that you now have to deal with almost on a daily basis.
I remember watching TV back probably post 2000, and they were showing something in China, and they were showing all the people walking around with the masks on then. And I just remember thinking, like, why? What the fuck? I mean, look, our bodies are created with the tools to fight viruses, you know. Plus, there has been medical advancements that are legit and vaccines that, like the polio vaccine, for instance. They used a dead strain of the polio virus to give people immunity because your body still recognized it even though it was already dead.
And you know, for those of you that dig our flavor, I'm honestly, I'm humbled. Uh, much love always. Um, but there are, at this moment, there are better produced um, networks of information that need the public's support. So I'm gonna shout just a couple of them off right now. One, you have the Stu Peters Network. Stu Peters, for anybody who hasn't been aware of his work, you need to look him up. The man is on fire, and whatever y'all can do to support the guy, hey, do it. Um, and then you've got, you know, the godfather of truth, Mr. Alex Jones. And I know that is a massive trigger word on YouTube, so that will be the last time I say it. However, that man is still around and he's still doing his thing despite all of the crap that man has had to go through and endure. And I would highly suggest that people look into his work. The man, I would say he's a prophet, but even he says he's not. And I agree, he's not. He is a visionary for sure, but the man has been completely correct on everything that has gone on in the last 40 years. So,
Well, I mean, look,
yeah,
it's getting to the point where they don't care to hide it. No
right,
more.
right. The velvet
They're
glove has
come
come
out
off.
saying this shit right to your face.
So,
Social credit system's coming.
so look,
It's all what they want. They want control. And if you don't understand that control corrupts, all you gotta do is look at history.
understand this. Going forward, this is what these people want that we cannot let them have. We will not comply with this, and that is mail-in voting. These people are going to try and lock us down again with this monkeypox BS and these vaccine passports. They have to have it. It's part of their cashless society. Look into it. They want this. They want it bad. And they're not going to stop until they get it.
Yeah.
They will cause war to get this. Understand that. So,
I just learned the other day, speaking on war, right? Russia has a nuke plan, meaning if somebody shoots a nuke at them, it's pretty much fuck the world. All right. Do you understand what that means? That means if our dumbass president decides to go with our capabilities with the first strike, there's a button that he presses that launches them all around the world. That's why I call it the FTW button, because that's what will happen. And the fact that he has the hypersonics on top of that, all you gotta do is just put the pieces together and see the picture of the puzzle.
well, look, yes, that's definitely a possibility. But what's even a bigger possibility is that they try and do exactly what I just described. And, like I said, do not comply. They're going to want mail-in voting. Y'all demand in-person voting. And demand that the voting ID is matched to the ballot. If you don't have that in your state, you need to get it. If you have a Republican in your state that is pushing against it, understand what you have there is a Democrat in Republican clothing, and you need to get him out. Or her.
Look, it's like this. I honestly don't believe any of these fools that are running
Right.
are worth the fucks that it took to create them. All right, I don't believe in our politicians. Period.
Right. Neither do I.
Why are we gonna let these bureaucratic fucks that only are worried about the insides of their pockets destroy us.
Well, and that's why I'm looking into a little something. I started looking into it this morning. A doctor that has a course on how to take these people to task by yourself, without the aid of attorneys or anything like that. And heard testimony from two people that are currently graduates of said course that are right now in their states taking people to task and having massive success doing it. I will continue to follow this. The more that I learn about it, the more I will bring to y'all. I will get the doctor's name, and the next time that we come on air,
Well, no, you can just, if you can get it tonight, we'll put it in the description.
We will put it in the description, and I highly suggest that people check him out, and because this is ultimately, this is going to come down to, are you self-governed or not? And if you're self-governed, then that means you need to stand up for yourself and stand up for those that you care about that can't. Because that's how this is going to be done. This is not going to be done with a government that's completely bought out. This is not going to be done with a military-industrial complex that suckles at the teat of said government.
Well, let's get it right. This isn't an American government, really.
No, it's
this
bought.
This is a corporate government.
It is bought and paid for.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is...
Now, you got to decide for yourself individually. Are you bought and paid for? Or are you still an individual? Are you still capable of independent thought?
Are you just looking to take the easy way out? The easy way isn't always the right way.
That only you can decide. But like I said, I will get the doctor's name. We will put it in the description. Everyone can look into this guy's course, look into his information. The more you dig on this guy, the more you're gonna see this is most likely going to be the route that all of us individually are going to have to take. And the more of us take it, the more we can grind this to a halt. We can stop this.
Don't get it twisted too. The more that we stand up, the fiercer they will get.
Oh, well, of course. History teaches that no rights that have ever been taken by a government have ever been given back without bloodshed. Just look into it.
Yep.
So,
it's absolutely true. But if we don't start standing up for ourselves, we're not going to have a self to stand up for.
If people don't start independently getting active in their lives, and I mean getting active in their local governments, and I do mean like yesterday, if people don't start getting active in their communities individually, like on the individual level, and taking responsibility on an individual level and trying to change their individual universe around them, if they don't start trying to do that, and I mean like yesterday, the bottom line is the prices that you're seeing now are absolutely nothing. Because just take a look, do the math on how far the prices have jumped in the past year and a half.
And now compound that with countries shutting off their distribution, basically, because they're not going to send it out. They're going to keep it for themselves. There's like 4 or 5 countries already doing that with wheat.
So, you just go ahead and you extrapolate that out another 6 months. Where do you think those prices are going to be now?
Not even. Go out another 10 weeks.
Now ask yourself, are you going to be making more money in 6 weeks? 4 weeks? 8 weeks? 10 weeks? No, you're not. But those prices are going to continue to rise.
Unless you get your yearly evaluation in this time, that's about it.
Right.
And even that ain't going to cover the cost of inflation.
Right. So, you cannot depend on a government that caused the problem. And this, make no mistake, all of this is a government.
They caused the problem to give you the solution.
Right. You can't.
So that we take their solution and obey.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, logically think that out. Are you really going to trust the very same entity that created the issues to fix the issues?
I mean, hell, it just disgusts me, right? We as a society have basically become dependent on other people doing the right thing. And keep in mind that these people that we thought would do the right thing are corrupt. They got their hands in so many different illegal types of activity, it's unreal. And since they have so much money, they can afford to pay off the judges. They can afford to pay off everybody they need to get away with it. So, justice isn't going to come easy for these people at all. It's going to take us to move earth to get these people convicted for their atrocities against humanity.
It is going to take the love and a miracle of God and the faith of a nation to take these people down.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And this shit goes back. It goes back, and they've had time to perfect this. But you know what? We may be just a ragtag group of people, right? But that don't mean we can't make changes. And I'm not saying to violently overtake. Please don't mistake my words for that.
I see those changes happening. Like, look, it's not all negative.
Nah.
It's not, because one thing I can honestly say that I've seen, and even in my personal life, in my personal sphere of influence, is a giant reawakening to the spiritual nature of the battles that we face, of the moral anguish of society. And I see a huge number of people turning back to God.
Yeah, it's true.
And I also see a great falling away in the faith of Big Brother. And those two things can only be looked at on a grander level as positives.
Yeah.
But also,
we used to be self-reliant as people. We used to have to grow our own food. We used to have to barter and trade our goods for other goods. We forgot how to do all this. And it's only because of governmental handouts.
So, yes,
yes, there are some people that may need a little help at some times in their life. I've been there. And I can understand that. But that don't mean we gotta suck the titty forever. The point is to use it, get together, move on. And until we as a society can learn how to do things on our own, we're gonna be dependent on these fools. So what I'm gonna suggest is people, if you don't know how to grow a fucking flower, try it. Take a chance. Because who knows, you might be able to do something you didn't think you could. It'll benefit you.
It's as simple as looking up on YouTube how to grow a simple, a tomato plant or whatever it is that you are interested in growing. But I honestly suggest that people take, your advice on that and grow, because the food shortage isn't coming. It's here. If you hadn't noticed, America is flying in baby formula.
Well, don't even get me started on this motherfucker with that shit. Please. Because look, at the end of the day, this little piece of shit wants to send our shit to Mexico and let our kids starve and be in the hospital. Now you lit me up. Now you gotta deal with it. Right? Fuck this prick. Right? What happened to taking care of us first? If you're not gonna do that, Mr. fucking Pedo Joe, get the fuck out of office. Because we don't need a spineless little bitch leading our country. We need somebody that's going to stand up for us, for who we are. And by you letting our kids get hurt, That's all that needs to be said. You little Mr. Burns piece of shit. Sorry.
You know, well, I mean, no, you have every single right to be fired up. You know, everyone should be fired up just like that because I mean, you couldn't put it more succinctly. They are shutting off your ability here domestically to provide while they are at the
Pumping
same
up
time
a globalist
at the same
system.
time they are taking what you stockpiled, your gas, your formula, all your food, and they are shipping it out. And then they're telling farmers here
we'll subsidize that for you.
To kill their crops.
Period. It's fine. We'll subsidize that.
And now we've reached the point where a lot of farmers are letting their farms rot on the vine because the price of diesel is so high that it costs more to harvest than they would get in sale. And the fertilizer costs too much for them to plant.
Yeah, but there's other ways to do the fertilizer.
Well, no, I agree. But what I'm saying, though, is these are all orchestrated and created. And now the very same people who orchestrated and created it are saying, give us more power. And while you're at it, give us more tax money. And while you're at it, give us your guns.
That's why Joe Biden wants to give pandemic control to the WHO.
This
Who the fuck is the WHO?
This is what
we put them in charge? I don't think so. So why are we gonna give our freedoms to these people that don't know shit, that are more corrupt than our government,
and that we don't have a vote on at all, no say whatsoever? I mean, think about it. The director of the WHO was placed there, handpicked by Xi Jinping of the CCP. Like, understand this, folks. Like, this, I mean, it's staring you in the face. They tried to tell you that first the virus wasn't man-made. Then they had to admit that the virus was man-made. Then they tried to tell you it didn't come from China. Then they had to admit that it did, in fact, get released in China.
Well, the thing is, with that whole thing, they know that biolab they suspected came out of have had, was it 3 or 4 major leaks in the past 10 years?
Right.
That's where I believe the SARS-CoV-2, I believe it was.
Right. Now, let's fast forward. Inflation was just transitory. Then inflation was temporary. Then inflation was Putinflation.
Putin.
And now inflation is something that we're going to have to deal with.
It's a tax.
So, look, no matter how you look at it, any situation that you take, Afghanistan, the pandemic, the supply chain issues, the food shortages, any situation you take and you put this administration in front of, or even any federal regulatory service in front of, look at the results. Understand,
crashing and burning.
Understand,
burning and crashing.
These people, look, if they're not doing it intentionally, and you want to sit there and say, okay, well, it's not a grand conspiracy, they can't be doing this intentionally. Okay, let's say that they're not doing this intentionally. Then it shows incompetence
at very least
on a grand scale across a wide array of issues.
But look, no, see, you're giving them too much. Because look, at the end of the day, coincidence is... the odds of this coincidence are 0, right? It's too much at once for it to be a coincidence, period. It's mathematically impossible, all right? Period. Give a fuck what you say. It is mathematically impossible for all this shit to be hitting the fan at once.
Without some kind of orchestration, I would agree.
And that's point blank, period. Because they told you all this shit already. Came out of their mouths. Where do you think I found out? All you gotta do is look it the fuck up.
And now they've just got done wrapping up their major meetings of the year.
Davos.
Yep. To plan out what they're going to be putting you through for the next year or so. So
Anything to get to their 2030 arrangements.
so understand this. For those of y'all that wanted to say conspiracy theorists, you know, well, look, I've been kind of vindicated at this point. Don't give a damn what I'm called.
You know what? If they call us conspiracy theorists, how about this, right? Look in your wallet. Go try to spend some money. See how much you get. But it's a conspiracy.
You know, it's gotten to be pretty tough for a lot of people across the country right now, and it's going to get tougher. So
learn how to do stuff, and at very least get ready.
You know, I would suggest that, you know, look, most people, and I was guilty of that until just, you know, relatively recently. I was guilty of it myself. Most people are only living to die. They're living in fear
Instead
of the
of
government
dying to live, which is gonna soon be the case.
And you know, I'm on the opposite spectrum now. Now I'm dying to live. Now I'm loving every minute that I'm alive and enjoying every minute that I'm around the people that I care about.
Yeah.
And I take great pride in enjoying that. Yeah, I work hard.
Yeah, well, we spent a lot of time together this weekend, which has been a while since we have too.
Right. You know what I mean? Because I've been working. You
Me
know.
too. And then when I'm off, I'm just so beat. I don't feel like doing shit.
Right.
And then all the birthdays came. I wanted to build everybody something. Had to fix your shit.
Yeah. So yeah, like, you know, work is mandatory if you are a man. And this is my opinion. And this is an opinion channel, so this is my opinion. But work is mandatory if you are a man. It just is.
Yeah.
But like I told someone a while back, don't work so hard that you don't enjoy what you have and then come to regret it. And
Yeah.
so
I think I know who you're talking about too.
You know, so enjoy every moment. Work, but enjoy every moment that you have.
Yeah.
And
including, work on things that you care about.
And including enjoy your work. Take pride. You know, there used to be a pride in this country overall. There still is in a lot of people, but overall in the country, there used to be a pride of made in America.
Yeah.
You know,
all that died in the 80s.
You know, well,
and it was definitely killed in the 90s with NAFTA.
Exactly. Well, guess what? You know, there's a resurrection in faith in this country. I'm seeing it. There needs to be a resurrection in pride in this country. If
America produced more stuff, I would buy more American produced stuff. I don't care about spending extra $5-10. You know, if it furthers our country for the better, then yes, I'm for it.
You know, so
but at the same time, I won't pay these corporations to keep enslaving us.
So, like,
stop shopping at Walmart.
Right. So, I want to leave it off on a positive note and say, you know, everyone, you know, when you go to bed tonight or you step out to go to work, if you work third shift, take time tonight before you leave to take in everything that you have, be grateful for it, with a new understanding, an understanding that
time is short.
That, right, tomorrow is not promised. You know, with the knowledge that I've given you here today, move forward and die to live every day.
But soon that die to live is going to have a different meaning.
Right, because they want to take away your ability to live. So, live, be prosperous, work hard, and
live
enjoy.
And let live.
You know, and enjoy everything. But always seek knowledge and seek truth, because you're not going to get it on TV.
No.
And you're not going to get it from your government, because
No.
all they have ever done is lie and obfuscate and confiscate. So,
And make life's living hell.
yeah, exactly. So,
And don't get it twisted. I'm not an anarchist by any means.
no, I'm
I
not.
would be all for our government if they were legitimate and they were for the people.
And if they were a lot smaller.
Yeah, yeah. But that's about it. You can't trust these people. You know, take the proper course to prepare for you and your family to have to go through some rough times, because they're coming.
Beware the government dogs.
Have a good night, America. Take care.